Banks. This includes Bray's Bayou, but it is just one of several bayous that are overflowing. This video is courtesy of Jordan Lee. We have team coverage for you all day.
Let's start with meteorologist Pat Kavlin with where Beryl is now and what we can expect for the rest of the day. Pat, it's been a challenging 12 hours across southeast Texas.
Yeah, we said this would be a quick hitter, but a hard hitter for the area, and that's exactly what happened. Also, control room, mix minus, please. Let's take a look at those rain totals right now in the Neighborhood Weather Network. All of the purple on the screen here indicating huge numbers. Now, bear with me because we have a few spots that are not reporting, and that's a signal of those power outages. But look at some of these totals. Willow Moss Court, 7 1/3 inches of rain. East 7th Street in the Heights, nearly 7 1/2 inches of rain. As we go back towards the Memorial neighborhood, look at that, nearly 8 inches of rain. Lynbrook Drive, nearly 7 1/2 inches of rain for Shannon Circle. So on average, throughout much of Harris County, we saw 6 to 8 inches of rain falling, and it happened in about a 6 to 8 hour time span. So obviously the bayous, as you just saw there, are starting to get to the tops of their banks. We'll talk about those in just a second. First, here's the latest. Look at this monster racing away from us right now, even getting reports of sunshine breaking through in some of the neighborhoods, especially south of the city. 1 p.m. advisory just about an hour ago, still a 60-mile-per-hour tropical storm racing towards the northeast at about 15 miles per hour and really packing a punch across northeast Texas right now. Here's the path that the storm took. Look at this. The center of the storm went right over Bay City, right through the heart of Fort Bend County, and then crossed right through western Harris County this morning, now making its way out of Montgomery County and into Walker and Polk County. This is eventually going to keep racing into the Great Lakes area as we get to the middle of the week as a post-tropical system, but it is going to substantially weaken here as we go through the next few hours. Here's what it looks like on radar. Still a prolific rainmaker up towards the Lufkin area. For us, things are starting to quiet down. Remember the tornado threat we talked about? Look at all of these tornado warnings, the red boxes here, going from northwest Louisiana back into northeast Texas. So we really dodged a bullet in regards to the tornado threat. Obviously, though, a different story with flooding. Fortunately, though, the rain has started to shut off for a good portion of us. Still a couple of showers wrapping around along 290, and then another batch coming in through League City. But overall, the heaviest of the rain is well off towards the east right now. Getting in for a closer look, you can see the city is quiet. But as we switch over to the Harris County Flood Control District flood gauges, we are keeping a very close eye on these. I want to get into the city because this is a spot that we actually had video footage of the Buffalo Bayou coming out of its banks along Allen Parkway back to River Oaks. And it is just amazing how, if you're familiar with that area, how far the water has to travel up to get to Allen Parkway. Also, White Oak Bayou, flooding is likely there. So this area we're going to have to monitor very closely. Of course, this was an area that struggled during Hurricane Harvey. So in the same respect, we'll take a trip back to the west and we'll check out Addicks, Barker reservoirs. Notice downstream, Buffalo Bayou, downstream from Addicks and Barker, everything's in the green. So if you live in these areas and you're worried about flooding, flooding is unlikely, again, through the energy corridor downstream of Addicks and Barker. The creeks that feed it, though, are seeing some flooding. They're out of their banks there, but this is not significant catastrophic flooding that we're seeing. But some neighborhoods could see water on the streets there as well. Down towards Bray's Bayou, right here through Meyerland, things are in the green, but we are seeing some issues a little farther to the south. But the rain forecast looks good here as we go through the rest of the evening and into tomorrow. That storm races away. We don't even see coastal showers developing. Tomorrow looks like a totally dry day, and I actually think we'll get a drop in humidity for tomorrow as well. But with the sunshine, it is going to be a hot one. So looking beyond Beryl now, we do see some leftover showers as we go through the rest of the evening. That'll be coupled with breezy conditions as well, but the winds will start to die down. Unfortunately, with over 2 million customers out of power right now, heat is going to start to build, and that's going to become our next primary headline as we get into the upcoming week. First, let's talk about the peak observed winds that we saw across the area. You know, we showed you the model runs last night if you were up watching with us ahead of the storm, and they were spitting out these exact values: 70, 80, close to 90-mile-per-hour winds. Look at that, Angleton, 85 miles per hour. In the city of Houston, Hobby and Bush both coming in over 80-mile-per-hour gusts. As we look at it kind of stacked up here, San Bernard, 91-mile-per-hour gusts. University of Houston, 89-mile-per-hour gusts. Same for Palacios, Surfside 87, and again Bush and Hobby above 80 miles per hour. These are future track winds. As we go through the evening, we see a big drop by 7 and 8 p.m. Still kind of breezy up towards Polk and San Jacinto. But as we get into tomorrow, not only do the winds turn a lot lighter, but notice it's a north wind. And if for anyone that has lived here long enough, you know a north wind this time of year is hard to come by, and it's also a dry wind that'll bring us a big drop in humidity as we get into tomorrow. So there's your 7-day forecast. It's a weather impact alert day for today. We should be able to drop that by the evening, and then we turn a lot drier with tons of sunshine, a nice breeze for tomorrow, mid-90s though, so it is going to be hot. Please make plans if you don't have power, if you have someone that's elderly living with you, someone with health issues, if you have children, because again, it is going to be super hot getting into the upcoming week with high temperatures in the mid-90s, overnight temperatures staying warm as well in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. So that's pretty much where we are at in terms of the forecast. We are going to see some big improvements again by the evening, but now it's the cleanup, the recovery, and making sure that the bayous don't go any higher than they already are. So that's the forecast. J-Ray, you've also had your hands full today. A lot of stuff going on. Thankfully, though, I think a lot of people staying home and heeding our warnings.
Yeah, it was a meteorologist. You guys set us up. We were prepared. I was mentally ready for today and what all was to be expected, at least if things were to go as planned. Now, post-storm Beryl, we have dozens of high water locations that are still in progress right now. We've asked folks to stay home. I'm still asking you to stay home unless you need to be out. If you're driving a short distance, maybe not a problem, but we really need the streets cleared for emergency crews and true emergencies that are happening right now. Hundreds of signal lights that are out or malfunctioning, so you need to treat those as a four-way stop for days to come until we see the repairs. Here's our traffic map and the weather radar. Remember earlier this morning, I mean, just blobs of red everywhere, which meant everybody was seeing downpours. We are still seeing the purple indications, and these on a traffic map are not good. That means that a freeway is shut down. We'll start over on the west side of town. West Beltway out of service at Westheimer. It has for the last few hours been shut down. I would not count on that, and I'll let you know when Hector decides to reopen it. We have closures along 45, the North Freeway. You know as well as I do that it floods in Houston around North Main. Very typical spot. I-10 was flooded at Taylor earlier this morning. We also have, this is the Pierce elevated Gulf Freeway up through I-10, just really dicey. And over on the east side of town, East Loop shut down at the bridge, and so is the Fred Hartman. It was shut down earlier with an 18-wheeler that was overturned, so they had to shut down the bridge to traffic. It was just way too dangerous. 288 is still underwater right now at 610. The main freeway. We're not talking a feeder road. This is the main corridor that you can see where drivers were stuck and the water has yet to fully recede. That's why we're asking drivers either take side streets. I'm glad that we're not talking to you in the middle of the night, because at least we have the daylight to sort of figure out and look at the markings of the curb or to get your bearings so that you're not driving through any high water. This is 290 at Gessner. No high water to show you at this location. It's just one of the few camera shots that is available to show you how traffic is running right now. Same for 225 at Goodyear. A lot of our cameras, we have maybe 1,800 accessible via Houston TransStar. About 95% are not operational. We can't even get the picture up and running for you, as many of the power outages have been affected and the camera shots have been knocked out with the winds from earlier. Katy Freeway at Highway 6, so many lanes. We're used to seeing it packed. Even at this non-peak hour in the afternoon, we'd see the flow a whole lot thicker on regular days, but folks did heed the advice and they stayed home, which is exactly what we needed and exactly what we still ask you to do if you can help it. Right now we are looking at the entire city, and for more information you can always head to our website at KHOU.com. There are other sources that you can use like HoustonTransStar.com to look for high water spots, whether it be tonight, later on in the overnight hours. DriveTexas.org is another good website for anybody traveling in and out of San Antonio or Dallas. I have been pinged by some friends, guys, that have tried to say, okay, Jen, is it safe for me to travel to Houston? Yeah, not yet. You should hold that commute off. But then if you hold it off too long, you're going to be driving in the nighttime hours. So I didn't want to advise that either. Fly2Houston.com for any of your airport information, and definitely check with your carrier. And that's your latest look at traffic. Good luck.
Jen, thank you. As we mentioned, Hurricane Beryl proved deadly for the Houston area. 3 people have lost their lives.
One person died in a house fire. 2 others were killed by falling trees. One of those trees fell on a home along FM 1960 in Kirkendall near Spring. And that's where we find Trayson Bragg with the update. Trayson?
That's right. Well, I'll tell you, Beryl causing an absolute tragedy here this morning here in North Harris County. I'm standing along Rustic Canyon Trail, and take a look behind me. You see that home? That is where strong winds blew a massive tree into the home, killing a 73-year-old grandmother this morning. I'm told by that woman's family that grandmother, Maria Laredo, lived here with her son, his wife, and her 2 grandchildren, ages 2 and 7 years old. Everyone was in the home when this happened. Now, the family tells me Miss Laredo was the only person hurt here in this tragedy. Her her daughter-in-law, rather, shared what happened the moments before and after the tree fell.
It happened like super fast as I was going downstairs to check on my son. That's when I heard the big crack. Right now, my husband, he can't even talk. Right now, my son was screaming, "Grandma," because he saw me like crying and telling my husband, "Go check on your mom." And he started freaking out. He was like, "Grandma," he said, "Call 911.
Wow, very difficult words there to hear. This family obviously very emotional right now. Again, the woman who tragically died here is 73-year-old Maria Laredo. This family described her as an amazing person and an absolutely amazing and passionate grandmother. They say she obviously will be missed. That family now gathering together, trying to stay strong after dealing with this tragedy and what took place here. We're going to continue to speak to them as they work their way through this. But again, Beryl proving tragic and deadly here in North Harris County. Reporting live here in North Harris County, I'm Trayson Bragg, KHOU 11 News.
Our heart just goes out to that family, Trayson. Thanks for that live report.
You know, I grew up in Spring, and the beauty of Spring are these majestic pine trees and oak trees and all the towering trees that are in that area. But the bad thing is when the weather deteriorates, those trees become a very serious threat, and in this case, deadly. Just thinking about that family.
This family did everything right, and it ended like this. Now let's turn to Matt Doherty, though.
He is live in Galveston with what it looks like on the island today. Very different than when we saw you last night, Matt.
Yeah, sure is, Mia. Now that the sun is out and the rain has stopped, we're going to look at some of the damage today. Take a look over here and you can see some of the glass that was blown out of this building overnight. That's when we saw some of those really, really strong, heavy winds that came, you know, hour after hour after hour. You're going to see some of these emergency vehicles that are patrolling the city right now. They're getting out now that the floodwaters have receded as well. I want to tell you, though, that most of the island, anecdotally, every place that we've visited so far today is still without power. If you don't have a generator here on the island, you do not have power right now. You can take a look at the intersection down there. That's Broadway. We're standing here at Broadway and Rosenberg Avenue near the library, if you know where that is. And you'll see these cars are having to stop because those lights are not working over there. That's another problem that they're dealing with here today. Also, they're dealing with a lot of tree damage. If you just spin around and take a look behind you, Ryan, and you can show them some of the trees, some of those oak trees over there that have just snapped over there in front of the library on the ground. We're seeing tons and tons of tree damage today. We drive around the neighborhoods and you can hear those chainsaws going already. So people are already trying to clean up some of the damage that was left behind. And let me tell you, so far from what we have seen, it is significant. It is warm out here right now. It is humid, but luckily there is a little bit of a breeze. Hopefully the power will be restored here sometime in the near future. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, the folks down there on the island waiting to have their power restored. Not alone, Matt Doherty. Millions are without power on this Monday afternoon, wanting to know when it will be restored.
Grace White's tracking outages and when those restoration efforts might begin. Grace.
That's really the biggest question, Mia and Marcelino. When will people get their power back? Here's where things stand right now. 2.2 million customers, CenterPoint customers, without power. That number is just incredible. We've seen it continue to climb. all morning long. We've been hearing from family and friends telling us they don't have power, asking us when it is coming back. We too are asking that question. As soon as we get an official estimate, we will pass that on to you, but we're still waiting to hear that CenterPoint crews have made it out into the most impacted areas to assess the damage and give us that timeline. But one thing we've also been watching, I just want to show you, is the ERCOT Texas power grid. It is operational. It is green. That's good news. ERCOT sent this message out saying at this time any outages are local in nature and not an ERCOT grid reliability issue. So that's the good news. Meantime, back here at home, CenterPoint has been staging crews. This is their emergency response team. They've been staging crews all across our area ahead of this storm, trying to get extra crews in from out of town to join their local resources to get power restored faster. You can also monitor all of this information on our website, KHOU.com. We've got a lot of information for you on power outages. Anything we get will go on air and online here for you. So again, where we stand right now, 2.2 million people, Marcelino and Mia, without power.
A lot of work ahead for CenterPoint, and that is a huge understatement right now. Thank you, Grace. And thank you for joining us. We will be staying with you as we all navigate through the aftermath of Beryl.
From the power outages to the cleanup, we're with you around the clock. Our next cut-in is coming up at 3 o'clock this afternoon, followed by KHOU 11 News at 4. And of course, you can get updates anytime online at KHOU.com and our KHOU 11.